Hi everyone, welcome to Me and My Golf. We're your coaches Andy and Pierce, and you've joined us here at a very sunny Orlando, Florida. We're at the world headquarters of David Leadbetter. The theme for the month is long game, so Pierce, what are we talking about today?
Andy, we're with David and one of his LPGA Tour students talking about her golf swing, the changes they've made. You're definitely going to enjoy this. Let's take charge of your game.
So guys, welcome to the Impact Show, and as you can see we have some very special guests. We're here with David Leadbetter and his LPGA student Jodi Ewart Shadoff. I got to get that right. Well done. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Great to see you both.
Thanks
for giving up your time before the season kicks off.
Yes.
David, what we wanted to do today, really, obviously we've got Jodi here, and we thought it'd be great to talk about some of the things that you've worked on with Jodi over the last few years. And
how many years is it?
3.5 now.
Oh
3.5 years.
Feels like
a long
20.
time.
Long years, yeah.
And the reasons, Jodi, you came to David, really, you know, what sort of things were you struggling with your game that made you want to sort of come and see David, and the journey that you've been on to where you are now? I know you've had a pretty good season last season, second in the British Open last season.
Yeah,
pretty good, not
good
bad. Not bad. So it'd be good to talk about some of the changes, David, and share with the guys at home to see what they can learn, really.
Yeah. Well, you know, thinking back, I mean, I think Jodi was just wanting to get better, I mean, which is obviously the goal for every player. And so, I mean, she had a long-term coach, a long-time coach that she'd worked with since she was a kid. So, you know, sometimes you just need fresh ideas and something. And the fact that I'm over here in the States and where she lives and plays full-time is a lot easier than your coach coming over all the way over from the UK periodically. So, you know, I mean, look, she's always been a really, really good ball striker. I mean, I would put her without a doubt in the top 5% of ball strikers on the LPGA. I mean, she's that good. So, you know, when you look at a player with that sort of talent, you know, if you can just maybe help to guide them, make a few little subtle changes, and see if we can get through the Yorkshire negativity, you know. You know, I think it's really, and you know, with every player, you're just trying to get them to understand the whys and the wherefores. You know, why was this happening? What are the tendencies, and how do you keep on track? I mean, that's the key, really, because for the most part, look, you're out there on your own. You're not, you know, you don't have your coach, you know, on the bag for the most part, unless you're, you know, Jason Day, who's got rid of him anyway. So, you know, so maybe it doesn't work. But even though they were very successful early on, but I mean, the fact remains that, look, you want to give somebody some thoughts and some feelings that can help them to really simplify things. I mean, she's not overly technical, overly complicated, and so she's just fortunate. She's a very naturally gifted ball striker, and so if we can just, I mean, for the most part, the biggest problem was early on was sort of the driving more than anything, you know, hitting a lot of shots sort of straight right, and she was a shut face player, and then having to sort of almost compensate for the shut face, because I mean, the golf swing's made up of compensations, we know. So if we can somehow get through to her, okay, we can get this, this, and this. So, I mean, we actually sort of tinkered in a lot of different areas, from the setup, you know, getting the setup really, really solid in balance. Got the club face in a much, much better position up top. So we actually worked a little A-swing with her, you know, I will call it that, although it was just a case of getting the club a little steeper, because her tendency was to get the club around her body and then lift it. So she was very out of sync. You know, she'd finished her backswing very early with the torso, and then a lot of lift with the arms, and then the body would go, and then she'd sort of stand up and wait for it, and a lot of times the club face wouldn't get back to square. So it was really simplifying the swing, getting the club face in a very much more neutral position. So when she finished the backswing with the torso, the arms and club had finished almost simultaneously. Then when she started down, the club would follow there soon after. So she's able to get into a much, much better impact position. So she was actually able to sort of get to the left side rather than she was here and sort of almost spun out of it, the old spin out situation. So you think
you're making me sound really good right now.
You've got to hit a ball in that was there.
But despite all that, she found a way to hit it solid, you know. So that's the natural gift that she has. So it's just really trying to simplify it, and you know, what's it all about essentially? Look, you're never going to hit the ball great all the time, but it's the quality of your misses, you know. So the misses are more in play. I think that's what you'll probably agree to, if we don't agree on anything, but we'll agree on that you know, her misses are a lot better. I mean, and when she's on song, I mean, she's a really, really, really good ball striker. And so
just as well.
And I think, you know, obviously working not only the long game, but working some short game. I mean, her putting's starting to get better and more consistent, and chipping, she had a few issues with that, but that's getting better too. So it's really building an all-round game, because you really don't want any weaknesses. It's like you've got to get to a point where, okay, right now, I mean, she's just almost maintaining. I mean, we're not really doing a whole heck of a lot with her swing. Just make sure that, hey, that she stays on track, and give her a few little things to work on. And she's excited now. She's got this new TPT shaft in the driver, which is really helping her out as far from a consistency standpoint. And so, all in all, I mean, to me, she's really ready for a breakout year. I mean, because she's been there or thereabouts. She hasn't won on the LPGA Tour yet. I mean, she's had 2 Solheim Cup appearances now, so she's she's one of their stalwarts. I won't say veterans. I was going to say veteran. I'm going to get kicked if I say that. But so to my mind, it's like any time she could literally break out and win 3 or 4 tournaments. I mean, she's got that much quality.
It's interesting that you're saying that the teaching gets done early, and then after that it's coaching, isn't it? So the change in the technique is done early, but then it's really about keeping on track with that and coaching that, isn't it?
Yeah, because feelings change. I mean, you travel, they get a little tired, they get you get ill or something in your play, and you get a little sloppy with your posture and the things, and we know that you tend to revert back to old habits. And a lot of times a player's not aware. It's like, because we play through feel, not I mean, you don't run to a video camera necessarily every 2 minutes, and you're not on TrackMan every 2 minutes. And even if on TrackMan, you might look at it, and we know at times that she gets the club coming too far from behind her. I mean, that's one thing we're always working on, is trying to get the club more in front of her, and which has really helped her iron play tremendously. Because when you get the club behind you with the drive, a lot of times you can hit up on it and sort of make decent contact. With the irons, it's tough to be as consistent. When the club's coming too far from the inside. So. We know there's certain numbers that when she's got the club tracking too far from the inside, it's not going to be great. But that's the effect. Those numbers are a result of something. So what's causing that? And that's the key.
I think what would be really cool, actually, if we could just actually get you into posture and actually go through showing the old swing a little bit about where it went.
Do you remember that?
And then
I don't know if you want to do that. You don't want to go back there.
But maybe just show where that was, and then how it looks now, and then maybe how you helped to change that. And obviously you mentioned it, but actually seeing it in motion would be really cool. So.
And we've worked on a number of little drills over a period to help to foster the feel, as I like to say. The drills help to give you the feel for what you're trying to do, and so once, she'll be the first to admit that, hey, it's not feeling good, or no, it feels pretty good. You use that word "feel" a lot. It's amazing how much we use that in golfing instruction.
It's sort of needed there a little bit, isn't it?
It is a little bit. It helps a lot.
yeah, exactly.
I'm a very feel-oriented player, and so I'd let David do all the thinking. I just do what he tells me.
He puts you in the position, you go, I can feel that, and I'll go with that.
Yeah, that's pretty hard. She really does cop onto things really very, very quickly, and so, she's a very natural swinger of the club, and it's like you'll hear by the strike. You can always tell, somebody's got some talent, just the compression on the ball, and she has it.
I've heard that for a while, Pierce. Have you?
No. Should we watch it a few then? And let's actually just see what it looks like, and then
absolutely.
Jodi's freezing here. She wants to get
I can't feel my hands. So
it's unusual for Florida to have this cold weather here.
Talking about strike.
That's all right. Get a couple going for us, and get you warming up here.
She's experimenting right now, trying some different clubs out. She's been out in California at all the factories, and
it's nice, very good.
And shot shape, is it more of a draw that you're playing now? Is it pretty neutral, or what would you say?
I prefer the draw.
She prefers the draw, but we're actually working on.
You don't like that?
No, I don't mind it. Just, but as Lee Trevino said, you can talk to Faye, but a hook won't listen. But sometimes, so the draw sometimes can get a little excessive.
I suppose with the old patterns as well, with the shot face and having to then reroute the club, and then that almost becomes the bad shot before.
Exactly.
Maybe.
So it was either a block or at times sort of a bit of a a duck hook type thing that would appear occasionally, but more the block than anything else. But so we're working on to a point where, with what she's trying to do, that we can actually move the ball left or right. Because I say, look, there's times where, not that you need to get too fancy, but there's times where, hey, if the pin's on the right, or if you've got a right to left wind blowing, to be able to move it left to right is great. Because if you're always moving it, because she would move the ball substantially in the air, which was which is interesting because, I mean, it's not easy to move the ball a lot in the air these days with modern golf balls.
Not at
Very
all.
nice.
And you can see, you know, just looking at these shots here, that the shape of the backswing is exactly how you've said. It's a little bit more in front now, if we want to say in front.
Yeah, I mean,
face
if
looks
you want
more
me to go
neutral.
through it,
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Yeah,
I
it'd be
think
really
I can, let's see, this would be good. I actually, you know what, the funny thing is, you know, in teaching, you know what I get players to do at times? I mean, especially like with posture. If somebody, say somebody's setting up to the ball and they're sort of back on the heels here, and you say, okay, come on, let's get your rear end underneath you a bit more, a little more balance, okay, a little more pressure on your quads. At times what I'll do, I actually get a player to say, okay, I want you to feel where you were, feel where you are. Because a lot of times, if you just say to yourself, okay, forward, 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 forward. Well, after 3 months of saying that, it means nothing. You know, it's just, they're just words. But if you've actually got, okay, this is where I tend to get, this is where I want to get, so it's not the worst thing in the world actually to sort of almost mimic your old mistakes and then get yourself into the position you want to be in.
Okay, I like that.
So setting up to it, she sort of tended to sit back a little bit there on her heels here, so she get her rear end too far behind her heels, okay, and then the tendency from here, the club would sort of work away from her, would work around here, and then, you know, it would take for bloody ever to get to the top, you know. So, okay, so then she sort of lift this up. We have a bit of a grip change too. That's one of the things that we didn't mention. So the face was much more in this position. So then as she come down, she instinctively aware the face was closed, so then the club would drop behind her almost to get the face more open now. It's interesting how at different points in the swing the club can be closed, it can be open. So then from here, so obviously the body would be taking so long to get there, so now the body was so far ahead, so the club would come in like this, and then it would be a woo, you know, so she would have to sort of whip the hands through in order to catch up. So essentially we got a little grip change there, we got the club a little bit more towards the fingers, which is my preference, rather than so much in the palm, so I probably even forgotten about that, but that's history, ancient history. But then, and you'll see in her sort of waggle, she gets the butt end in and the club out. So that's one of the things I really like in the initial move away, which is part of the A swing, hands in, club out. But then, so from here the club would set up a little bit more vertical, and it's not excessive. In her case, it doesn't sort of look like this, even though it may feel that way at times. But then she was able to sort of complete the backswing with the completion of a rotation. It wasn't like the arms finished the backswing. And so you can see the club is in a much more neutral position as she changes direction. So now, or at the top before she changes direction. Now she starts down, okay, there's going to be a natural shallowing, but then the club is in a much squarer position and she can actually get the club more in front of her. So a lot of times we'd put like an alignment stick here, so to get that club in front of her here, so the club wouldn't get behind. So then the club and arms and hands would catch up more, so everything was sort of more in sync. So as she released the club was in a much different position through here rather than sort of this look, and then it was a much more in sync finish.
It's interesting you're saying, sorry Andy, interesting you're saying there with obviously that club coming down, missing that alignment stick, very useful for hitting those irons. Obviously, the lies get especially tight as well. You know, you want that attack angle down.
So it's just a simple trick. We'll actually, let me just wander over and get a stick here and we'll show you.
So how did that feel, Jodi, for you when you went from sort of that swing that David's demonstrated from being here to getting that club more in front and over that alignment stick? How severe did that feel to you?
Very. I mean, it took quite a while for it to become a habit. You know, and even now when I get tired, I've been traveling a lot. This is still the tendency
that you want to go towards.
So, but the most noticeable thing for me was that I no longer have wrist or shoulder or back injuries anymore because I'm much more efficient in the golf swing.
This is an anti-aging swing.
Anti-aging swing.
You charge extra for that, David?
Yeah, but it's true.
Chiropractors know more than golf coaches, is that right?
The problem is, as Jodi was saying, I mean, it's funny. With her, whenever she says, well, listen, my shoulder's starting to hurt, okay, when you know for sure that she's giving it one of these jobs. Or the wrist is starting to hurt. You know for sure she's giving it one of these jobs because it's like it's held and then it's... So it's almost like she's got a built-in alarm there. So if she has a couple of little tweaks here and there, oh, okay, this must be happening. And so it's very interesting how, and that happens with a lot of players too.
You realise there's thousands of people watching this video now going, oh my goodness, I need to look at my golf swing.
So I'll just stick this in here. It's you know, you don't have to get too drastic with it. It's just, somewhere around there. So it's pretty much matching the shaft. Okay, so set up to it here. But it just gives her an image. Okay, I'm being too kind to you.
You are.
That was too easy for you, Jodi.
Let me just get that here. Okay. All right, so you can see, so first of all, it gives her a nice image of the club head staying outside the hands, but then from here, she changes direction here. It's almost like she feels like, it literally feels like she's doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, most people say, why would you be trying to get the club doing that? Because it's an exaggeration from where she tends to get, which is here. So hit a couple there, let's see. So you see the little rehearsal she goes through.
You can really hear that solid compression on the iron as well, where she's getting that club obviously more descending and maybe compared to how she used to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Attack angles maybe a little more down.
A little bit more down with the irons, yeah, exactly. It was a little shallow before. Yeah, really nice strike.
Yeah, nice.
So you can see the shape is a little baby draw.
Yeah.
You know, and can I ask you on film?
Which Jodi's happy with.
Hit a fade, come on.
Oh gosh.
Here we go.
Here we
True
go,
test,
this is it.
you see. Early in the season, that's okay. Let's see. All right. Maybe a little bit of a push fade, that one.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And is this something that you will do, David, in terms of, obviously Jodi says she likes to hit a draw, but it's nice to have the ability to play a fade when she needs to.
Well, I just think
that you then try and get her to do that to almost balance the swing out.
Exactly. It's actually, to me, it's actually working away from the tendencies, and also the fact that, hey, I mean, I just think that, look, if she has to hit a fade at some stage for whatever reason, you know, she should be able to do it. I mean, it's like, you know, it's, as we know, I mean, the pin's on the right. You got pins on the right, water's on the right, okay? You know, you're not likely to sort of start the ball over the water. So what are you going to do? You're going to, you know, you're going to say, okay, well, I've got to take 30 feet here. Whereas if you can at least, I mean, hold the ball, okay, where it can just fall off.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a much greater chance of hitting it closer to the hole. You know, so it's really, I mean, I just think from her standpoint, it's good from a technique standpoint, also the ability to have a all-round game.
Definitely. And to get that first win, that might be needed really to.
You never know. You never know.
Pin,
yeah. I mean, it's like you know, you play US Open courses where the greens are very firm. You know, you'd like a softer, you know, obviously the ball moving left to right, so a little softer shot, because they'd be more receptive on the greens. So there's some benefits to it, and I say, especially with the swing. Okay, come on, start it left and cut it here. Let's see. Oh, we're getting there.
Yeah, a little better.
Yeah, we're getting there.
It's moving left to right.
Yeah, no, it is moving left to right. Yeah.
I'm not just hitting it straight left.
No, exactly. So, you know, one of the other drills that we did, which really helped her too, which I like, is this one where we can take your dress, and so she gets about just short of halfway. So we get to about here, and then okay, so she's in position. So now from there, she completes the backswing, and off she goes. Yeah. So it's like it's a way of feeling that she can really get in sync. You want to have a couple of practice swings doing that? So we start off just short of halfway as far as where the left arm is concerned. Right now we complete the backswing. Boom.
Very nice.
Very nice. And that's something that you obviously work towards. I mean, that's something that you perhaps I mean, as talented as Jodi is, even to start with, doing that drill might be quite tricky.
Yeah, and she does it periodically too, just to sort of remind her, because if she gets a little bit out of sync, because the other thing is, and we haven't mentioned, but the other thing is, one of the big issues, the club was causing a situation where as she did this, she'd have this sort of tilt, okay, so she'd tilt towards the target this way, and then reverse coming down. Now, with this much more in sync backswing, this is one of the little thoughts, you know, when her back starts to hurt, she knows she's starting to reverse. Okay, that's the other little thing. So, so she's actually sort of getting more, the upper body more stacked on the lower body rather than being sort of in this reverse position. So that's one of the other things that we've really worked hard on too.
A lot safer for her body, as you're saying there.
Much, yeah, much. You've got to do something that's easy on the body. Look, you know, players have played this game for a long time. They're hitting a lot of balls, and if it's a stressful thing on the body, I mean, you know, injuries, you know, as we know, create problems, and you start to work around them, and you know, you create problems just from the fact that you're trying not to hurt.
Yeah, of course.
So,
of course.
All right, let's hit one more there.
Yeah, one more.
So we start halfway back again. Actually, there we go. So about here. Let's do it. Let's get it set a little more. There you go. All right, ready? Here we go. Hey, you might want to play like that.
I think Suzanne Petterson did that for a while, didn't she?
She actually played from there.
Played for a season doing that?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did. Yeah, very much so. So you know, and the thing is, it's very simple, her swing. You can see it's basically she rotates. You know, the club's in great position as she moves, and I say it's just a matter of, for her, just to sync it up where she can feel as she moves through it, you know, the club's always with her rather than having to wait for it, because that's the other thing, you know, I mean, which is it helped to improve her balance, because the fact that she was so far ahead of it, she'd actually stand up. I mean, literally this foot was, you know, airborne at impact. I know a lot of players are, you know, Lexi Thompson is, and more with a drive than anything else. So it's actually helped her balance as well. And so it's, you know, it's just it's a whole holistic approach. It's not just one little thing. It's just okay, let's make the swing simpler, understand what you're doing, have a couple of drills, you know, to get back on track, and you're never going to get too far off track.
I think the good thing with it is that there seems to be some longevity to it as well, doesn't it? And this is a very valid point for people who are watching this, you know, who are in pain, maybe figure out, could the golf swing, you know, reverse spine, you know, and these movements here, that could be putting the strain on your body, which is actually obviously hurting you. So really important to look at that.
She's done a great job there. So that's the, I don't know, anything else you can think of? I've been speaking a lot, you haven't said much.
She's doing the hard work.
Must have made sense.
Was there a moment for yourself, obviously going through these changes, Jodi, where there was one particular move that you felt, yeah, okay, this makes total sense now and I can feel the difference?
Well, I think over the past few years I've really been able to understand the golf swing more. I learned a lot about technique, and now I'm able to fix myself when I'm away, and instead of freaking out. So I think just being able to get the club, feeling like the club's working down more in front of me is a really good feeling for me. So it stops me standing up at impact. And
I think it's crucial, that understanding, isn't it? I think for you to be able to go out there on your own and understand when things go wrong and you feel certain things, you can say, well, okay, I understand now why that ball's blocking out right because of these tendencies. And I think that understanding really helps the process of you saying, well, I know I need to make these changes in order to move towards the, you know.
And it's always bad habit too. I mean, it's always the same things that come cropping up. It's never a new thing. So.
It's never new.
That's good, isn't it? Obviously, you know, that's obviously something you've worked hard with there, David, to actually get so Jodi has ownership of what she is doing wrong, because as you say, you're not on the bag every week.
No, to me that's absolutely crucial, because as I say, you know, feelings do come and go. So as long, you know, she's got some different feelings for different things. I mean, one of the little drills she does at times is sort of splits her hands on here. So just show us that one there, Jim. So we split her hands a couple of inches, and this really gives her the feeling, certainly at the start, because one of the tendencies still at times, if she gets split, certainly she gets a little sloppy with her posture, is that the hands separate. I mean, it's just built in there. It's like, you know, she's always done it. And so this exercise here, with the hands split, there we go, it just gives her the feeling, okay, that this is the butt of the club is really in, the club is out, and then it gives her the feeling of setting it on a slightly more vertical plane. And so little things like that, just to remind you, okay, it's funny how we just sort of sneak back to things that we did. Habits. Probably the first time he picked up the golf club. It's like, I remember Nick Price from when he was 12 years old, and some of the things he has now, you know, he's not playing much. He played in the father-son in December, and he sent me a video. He said, hey, have a look at this, what do you think? And I put SOS, you know, same old stuff.
Okay. Very good.
Which is like, you know, it's like, it really, some things, as much as they seem to change, they remain the same, you know, so it's interesting. But, you know, because we are creatures of habit.
Absolutely.
It's great to hear the changes that you've worked on, you know, and to get where you are. And I'm sure that win isn't far away. We'll be looking out for that this season, hopefully. David, thanks for your time.
Pleasure.
Really enjoyed listening to what you had to do say there with Jodi as well. Jodi, good luck for the season.
Good luck.
Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you post any comments down below, and we'll see you soon.
Maybe 60% of your weight on your front foot there. And the reason being is because this will help you to get that weight into that front foot. Let's see, so in swinging it back now, I want you to feel like you've got a little bit more of a 3/4 swing.
We hope you enjoyed the video, guys. A great insight there to what David works on with some of his tour players. Now, if you've got any questions or comments to leave, please leave them down below and we'll get back to as many as we can.
Yes, absolutely. And also make sure you check out this week's Me and My Golf Weekly. Click on the link in the corner to see David's top tips with his driver and the irons. See you soon.